The name of my sermon is What If? And it's based on a book that I read this week by Shirley Davis. We all have dreams, she says, things we want to accomplish in life. This book, Living Beyond What If, is a blueprint to help you get there. In it, the author tells of being in a car accident where she rolled her car over a 40-foot embankment, breaking her back and her two hands, yet lived to tell the story. Then at her first job, she tells of working as a bank teller when two men jumped over the counter to her position and put a gun between her eyes. She has other amazing adventures as well that she lived through and outlines them in her book. When I went to the library, the librarian said to me, "I have a new book for you." And then she handed me this one, Living Beyond What If. And I highly recommend it to you as well. It is an inspirational read. I only have this one copy though. Somebody can borrow it for a week or maybe two because I think I'm going to be out of town next week. But if you want to borrow it, let me know. It's a good one. Here's a quote from Dr. Shirley Davis, the author. "I hope that as you read this book, you not only resonate with the many stories I shared, but also found inspiration and guidance for your own journey. As we travel this road of life, we must recognize that we are all at different junctions and mile markers on the road toward realizing our dreams. It's important for us to take inventory of where we are and how we got here, and then begin to recalculate our lives for better or different results. When I was a teenager, I used to religiously watch the TV show Judge for the Defense. Anybody heard of that? And watched it? I watched it every week. I wanted to be just like him, helping the downtrodden have more success in life. The show was every Thursday night, 9 to 10. My bedtime was 9 o'clock on school nights, but my parents let me stay up to 10 on Thursdays just to watch it. I was sure I would become an attorney and work to make the world a more fair and equitable place, just like Judd did. But as I grew older and went to college, the first class I took was Psychology 101. I was hooked and took all the psychology classes that were offered at the university I went to. And since then, I've been a psychotherapist for almost 50 years. It's worked out, so I say thank you to Judd for the Defense for unwittingly helping me to get committed to making the world a better place. I hope you have that goal as well for your life. What can you do toward making the world a better place? Just think about that. What can I do to make the world a better place? My last two sermons here have been about your gaining your personal power, knowing who you are and where you want to go. This first sermon was about getting more joy in your life. The second one was about who's in charge of your life. Is it you? And today is the third sermon in this series, Living Beyond What If. It's about releasing your limits to allow yourself your dreams. Life is amazing and wonderful, and I don't want you to miss it by focusing on what could go wrong. What if I don't get hired? Or worse yet, what if I get fired? What ifs are often full of fear. What if my boyfriend or girlfriend cheats on me? What if I get sick and miss the interview? One time when I was applying for a teaching job, my nose started gushing blood all over my dress, all over my face, all over my hands and arms. And I thought to myself, oh great, probably won't even interview me now. I asked if I could come back the next day after I got all the blood cleaned up. They were more than happy to oblige. I came back the next day, clothes and clean clothes and no sign of a nosebleed. They asked me, how often does that happen? So I told them the truth. Not very often, maybe once every 6 months or so. I was so embarrassed, but they liked me and I got the job. Living beyond what if is about releasing your limits and realizing your dreams. To begin with, you have to know what your dreams are, being able to articulate them and write them down. Then look at that paper in the months ahead and analyze how you are doing as far as reaching your dreams. There is power in writing them down. Do you know what your dreams are for your life? To really think about, what would I like to achieve or see or do or meet someone, and write it down. If you're like me, I can forget something in a split second. So writing them down helps you one step closer to accomplishing them. One thing I've always wanted to do besides being an attorney, bigger than that, has been to become a healing force in the world. I've done this by being willing to give a person a free session or two when I see them struggling. I'm in private practice with no boss over my head, so I can do that. The way I have structured my life is that I'm in charge of it, of all the decisions. And I'm here to tell you the same is true for you. You are in charge of your life and all of your decisions. I had another fierce nosebleed when I was dating my husband, Jeff. He totally freaked out because there was so much blood. But he stood by me, and we've been married now almost 50 years. I had my nose cauterized, and so now there are no more nosebleeds. I think the lesson here is go with the flow. Let it bleed until it stops. Don't panic. You are not going to bleed out. Carry handkerchiefs with you, and remember, life is good. Even when sudden nosebleeds show up, I learned to laugh about them because people freak out. And so, I just learned to carry handkerchiefs with me and remember life is good, even when sudden nosebleeds show up. I learned to laugh about them and to accept them. I don't know why, but nosebleeds came with me, and now I say, so what? And if I have one now when I'm speaking, I will clamp my nose shut and it will stop. I will excuse myself and run to the bathroom, and that will be that. When you get home, you'll have a story to tell. And it will be nothing more than that. Nothing serious, just a little bit of craziness in life crashing into me. The reality is, since I had my nose cauterized, I haven't had even one nosebleed again. I think I am done with them. How about you? Do you ever have anything unexpected happen to you? Like you can't remember the words to something? We have a friend who was singing the Star-Spangled Banner at the beginning of a football game once, and he forgot the words. So he just started humming it and encouraged people to hum along. We still laugh about that to this day. He's a brilliant singer that never went away. He just had a blip in his memory, the same as we all do. You ever have a blip in your memory? And think, what's that person's name? I know them, but I don't remember their names. The same as we all do. So this sermon is about living beyond what if. What if I forget the words to the national anthem? We have to get okay with everything that could happen and not fear it. Our friend, Brett Gold, had the worst thing he could imagine happen to him, and he shrugged his shoulders and went on with the show. He's a role model of mine. By reading this book, Living Beyond What If, the number one thing I learned about was procrastination. The reality is everyone procrastinates. To get you unstuck when you are stuck in procrastination, simply ask yourself, how bad do I want it? Why are most people not living their dreams? If you guess procrastination, you are correct. What exactly is procrastination anyway? Dr. Davis says, procrastination is avoiding doing something that should get done. You must be willing to put yourself out there, write down your life goals, and then break them down into a lot of small goals that need to get done and commit to doing one of them today, or at least this week. Remember, big goals like committing to exercise every day need to be broken down into more manageable little goals, like committing to go to the gym 3 times a week. This mark is on your then mark it on your calendar what days you went. If you went 3 days, give yourself a gold star. Seriously, a little gold star. This will encourage you to go to the gym 3 days next week. Eventually, this will encourage you to make going to the gym 3 times a week a habit, and you may begin by not wanting to go to the gym at all and end up enjoying it and not wanting to miss getting a gold star. Just remember, we all, including you, settle for a smaller reward in the present over waiting for a larger reward in the future. We are biased toward the present. But let's talk about fears. Fears get in the way of our being fully alive, so we have to face them and confront them, not all at once, but one at a time. Document the lessons you learned last year and this year. How are you doing practicing the lessons from last year? How about this year? Remember the bottom line of don't worry, be happy. Also, as you are shifting from your old behaviors to your new ones, there are 3 stages to be aware of. The first one is called endings, and it's full of distress and anxiety and depression. Stage 2 is called the neutral zone, where we are impatient and confused in search of significance and purpose. Finally, we reach stage 3, the new beginnings stage, where we get new energy and accept the change. We're still searching for significance and purpose. At this point in your changing, it would be good to read The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. Has anybody read that book? The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren was famous a few years ago. As far as today's book, Living Beyond What If by Shirley Davis, who is friends with Les Brown, a motivational speaker and Dr. Davis's mentor, as far as her book, I have only 1 copy of it. I would be happy to lend it out if you promise to return it to me in 2 weeks. Next week, I'll be in Mexico, having a vacation, a free vacation that Jeff won in a raffle over Christmas. And so we'll be in Jalisco. All in all, life is good. Facing our fears and our joys, all is good. I have a story of facing my fears as of a bully from the book, What If? A bully tormented me throughout my high school years. I was petite, weighing only 90 pounds, and she was much taller and bigger than me. All of my classmates were afraid of her. but I knew I couldn't cower when she threatened to beat me up. If I did, she would increase her attacks and all of my friends would make fun of me. In our 12th grade year, near the end of the 3rd semester, she announced to the class that she would meet me at my bus stop after school today and beat me up. Of course, that generated a lot of spectators who normally didn't even take my bus. The bus stop was a few houses down from where I lived. Fortunately, my bus arrived a few minutes before hers. I got off and ran into the house. As much as I wanted to hide and pretend that I wasn't home, I knew I had to confront my fear and defend myself, and that is what I did. Her bus arrived a few minutes later. Sorry, I don't know if I have any water here, I guess not. And she and the crowd walked to my house. Someone yelled my name and announced that she was outside and that I should come out and get my butt whipped. I had changed my clothes and shoes and prepared myself for the fight. I walked outside and into the street where she was, and as soon as she hastened toward me, I threw the first punch. Some called it a haymaker, but kept throwing them. I kept throwing them. Yes, thank you. Perfect. Oh, that's wonderful. Anyway, I kept throwing punches in fear that if I stopped, she would hurt me worse. It turns out they had to pull me off of her. I had won the fight. The next day at school, all of my classmates were calling me Sugar Ray Leonard, an American welterweight boxing champion from the 1980s. You remember Sugar Ray Leonard? Yeah. He was adorable. Because I defended myself, the bully left me alone, and I sent a message to others that I wasn't afraid and they shouldn't mess with me. The truth is, I was still afraid, but even after the fight, but I felt a sense of pride and relief that I had faced my fear of her and discovered I had a pretty nice right hook. I learned a few lessons from that incident that followed me into adult life. First, when I was fearful, I didn't realize my own strength until I had to come face to face with my insecurities and inadequacies. Second, I had not stood up to that fear, if I had not stood up to that fear, the bully, the torment would have continued. In other words, you cannot conquer what you aren't willing to confront. Third, when faced with fear, it may not be as big or as bad as it appears. It may just be sounding off a lot of noise and not be able to overtake you at all. So hold on to your power, always. And that's it. Blessed be and amen.